Let's take a look at the concrete example of HTTP. Supposedly, there's an application called guest assign that allows the guest to put his name and his message to a web page. Let's say that he is allowed to type in his name and allowed to type in a message that have the maximum 40 characters and then to submit it to the web server. And then when web server receiving it, he will return the web page back to the application that has the such following. The web page will have the title called My Guest Book, and the content of it includes a string said, "Thanks for signing my guest book," and here is what you have said, and followed with the name and the message that has been posted by the guest. So in the example, you can see that the guest is using the HTTP method post, and there are two variables put it into the HTTP request, including the name and message. And on the server side, it will retrieve the variable of name here. It will retrieve the variable of the name here and retrieve the variable of the message here, which are all using the PHP script. And then as a result, let's say supposedly the user has posted the name as Joe and put the message as hi, and then those two messages will, the Joe is going to be filled into the name and hi is going to fill into the message, and then the two message is going to be sent to the variables in the PHP file, and as a result, the web server will generate a HTTP page, a web page that is in the following format back to the user's browser. So in this example, the user will receive a web page that have listed his name and his message that he posted earlier. Supposedly, there's another web page called guestbook.php, which will list all the visitor's name and message. In the example, the guestbook.php will list supposedly Joe has typed in his message. Joe has typed in his message hi, and then the message is going to be displayed on the web page. And this web page is going to be able to visited by all the users. Suppose there's another user is coming in and then send a request to the webbook.php, and then this web page will be returned. And he can see all the users, all the guest message. And in this case, the cross-site scripting attack can happen. For example, if there's a malicious user called Mallory, and instead of putting a text message, he can put in a JavaScript as the message, and this JavaScript will be put into the guestbook.php, and it includes Mallory as his name and also the message that he put. But in this case, it's gonna be a piece of JavaScript, and if the user visiting this guestbook.php, then this JavaScript will be loaded on his browser and is going to be executed. So in this example, the JavaScript simply just pop up a box and showing a message saying XSS. But some dangerous things can happen. For example, the JavaScript can be something like this. And what this JavaScript do is that it will redirect the current web page to the evilsite.com and attaching it with a variable that contains the current user's document cookie. In this case, the document.cookie basically is the the session key that is the current victim user used to visit the guestbook.php. So if the attacker running the evilsite.com obtain the document.cookie, then he will be able to use the document.cookie to visit the guestbook.php with the current user's account, which creates the session hijacking. And similarly, the attacker can basically attaching some other codes like this. And what this code does is that it will fetch the image from the remote location, which is hosted by the attacker, evilsite.com, and then by fetching this image, the attacker can attach the document.cookie or the session key, and so that the attacker in the evilsite.com will be able to receive the document.cookie. As a result, the attacker can do session hijacking on top of the user that is visiting the guestbook.php.